Hello, superfans, and welcome to Alberta News and Views. Today in the House of Commons, we are having an emergency carbon tax meeting. Now, Pierre Poilievre is still skyrocketing in the polls, and especially with younger Canadians, the 18 to 25-year-olds. So, the Trudeau Media Corp, the mainstream media in Canada, cannot figure out why the younger Canadians find Pierre Poilievre so appealing. It is astounding. They are telling themselves the only reason why these Canadians are voting for Pierre Poilievre is because they're just angry at things that are happening in Canada. They're just angry with the country right now, so they're voting for Pierre Poilievre. And of course, it's not because of Justin Trudeau. It's not because of the Liberal NDP party. It must be because of outside sources influencing Canada, making it so bad that they would be voting for Pierre Poilievre, because he's just a quick fix. I'm going to show you a quick clip from this emergency carbon tax meeting with Pierre Poilievre. And this is why Canadians are voting for Pierre Poilievre. And he doesn't even talk about the scandals going on right now. Check this out.
What we are going to deliver, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, imagine if, in fact, you were in a coma for the last 8 years. You would have gone to sleep in a country in 2015 where inflation and interest rates were rock bottom, taxes were falling at faster than any time in Canadian history. The budget was balanced. Crime had just fallen 25% so that small town folks could leave their doors unlocked. Our borders were secured. Our immigration system was uncontroversial. Everyone agreed it worked and was the best in the world. Housing costs half of what it does today. The average rent was $950, an almost laughably low number by today's standards. Take-home pay had risen by 10% after tax and after inflation in the preceding years. The New York Times had just called Canada the richest middle class. In fact, they said that Canada's middle class was richer for the first time than America's. This, with lots of trouble in the world, wars in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and yes, Ukraine, none of which caused inflation here at home. At the time, of course, we had Prime Minister Harper, who was able to keep inflation and unemployment low, even while the world suffered turmoil. But now you've awoken, 8 years later, to find a completely different place. Inflation, after hitting a 40-year high, is still 50% higher than its 2% target. The economy is shrinking in per capita terms. It's smaller than it was 6 years ago, perhaps the first time that has ever happened in Canadian history. Canada is expected to have the worst OECD growth out of 40 countries for the next 5.5 years and the next 35 years. It now takes 25 years to save up for a down payment for a mortgage in Toronto. And many people have had their existing mortgages extended to 90 years and 120 years, meaning their great-grandchildren will still be paying it off. Houses in Canada now cost 50% more than in the United States. You can buy a home, a castle in Sweden for a lower cost than it is for a two-bedroom in Kitchener. Toronto is the worst housing bubble in the world. Vancouver, the third most expensive when comparing median income to medium housing prices. This is the nightmare that would have been unimaginable to you had you fallen into that coma and just awoken now. But there is good news. You don't want to fall back in the coma because the best is yet to come. We now have a common sense, conservative alternative that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. We call on the Prime Minister to meet the premiers and talk to him about their desire to see the tax cut or eliminated altogether. Let us grant relief to our people now until there can be a carbon tax election where the people of this country will restore the common sense consensus that will allow anyone from anywhere to do anything, that their birthright is that with hard work you can afford a good home and good food in a safe neighborhood in the country we love, in this, all of our homes, your home, my home, our home. Let's bring it home.
Yes. Question.
People aren't stupid. They know that all of these policies are leading to inflation and the cost of living crisis, the homeless crisis, the drugs, the crime, you name it. They are flocking because they want 2015 again. They want affordability again. They want the Canada of old. They want the life that their parents had. And all the newcomers that come here, they're all making TikTok videos saying, this isn't what I was promised. How do you people live here? That's what they're saying. They say Canadians don't live. Canadians exist. They go to work to exist. And that is the truth. And that is why they are voting for Pierre Poilievre. Hopefully, we get a hold of this election interference. Justin Trudeau resigns and we get a snap election. Hopefully that happens, because that is what should happen. It's incredible, the news that is coming out of that public inquiry into election interference. It should be everywhere. But of course it is not, because that would collapse this government if people knew. And they don't. It's surprising how many people don't know what's going on in Canada. Surprising, but not surprising. There should be millions of Canadians protesting in the streets right now, because the foundation of our democracy was jeopardized by the Prime Minister of Canada. Say it out loud. That is what happened. Now today, that was yesterday. Today they're all backtracking and they're trying to cover up their tracks and have justification for their actions. It's incredible. Tomorrow, Justin Trudeau, I believe it's tomorrow, Justin Trudeau is going to be talking about it and answering questions. Yeah, right. I'll keep you updated with all this stuff as much as I can when I can. Follow me on Substack and Spotify. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.